Right, we've got a quorum already, so please be seated, members. I'll now call the meeting to order. Just to remind members that if they have a direct or indirect pecuniary interest in the matters being discussed, then please make a disclosure with regard to the nature of the interest before you speak. And please also note Rule 84 of the Rules of Procedure concerning voting in case of direct pecuniary interest. FCR 2012-2013-70 recommendations of the ESC made on the 4th of January this year. This item seeks approval of the recommendations of the ESC made at this meeting held on the 4th of January. There are three proposals. They are items 13 to 15. Now, no member has requested that any of the proposals be voted on separately. Does any member wish to speak on these proposals? If members have no questions, I will now put this item to the vote. Those in favor of the proposals in FCR 2012-2013-70, please raise their hands. Those against, please raise their hands. I think the majority of the members voting are in favor of the proposal. The proposal is approved. Item 2 on the agenda, FCR 71. This item seeks approval of the recommendations of the PWSC made at its meeting held on the 9th of January 2013. There are three proposals. Some PWSC members are of the view that items 46 and 47 be voted on separately at the FC meeting. Do members have any questions? If members have no questions, then we will vote on item 71 now. Those in favor of the proposal in FCR 2012-2013-71, please raise their hands. Those against, please raise their hands. I think majority of the members voting are in favor of the proposal. The proposal is approved. Now let's deal with PWSC 2012-2013-46. The paper recommends that part of 13MD be upgraded. This is entitled Redevelopment of Kwong Wah Hospital Preparatory Works. And the estimated cost is 552.7 million in MOD prices. And the second part of the proposal is to retain the remainder of 13MD in Cat B. And to answer members' questions, we have in attendance the following officials: Professor Sophia Chan, Under Secretary for Food and Health; Ms. Angela Lee, Principal Assistant Secretary for Food and Health; Mr. Chu Yim Kwong, Senior Building Services Engineer, ASD; Dr. Nelson Watt, Hospital Chief Executive, Kwong Wah Hospital and Tung Wah Group Hospitals, Wong Tai Sin Hospital; and Mr. Donald Lee, Chief Manager, Capital Planning Hospital Authority. Ms. Helena Wong. Thank you, Chairman. The Democratic Party supports the redevelopment of Kwong Wah Hospital. I would like to refer to paper PWSC 2012-2013-40, paper 1. In fact, that's a supplementary paper, and I would like to refer to para 9. The DP is concerned about what happens during redevelopment. We hope that the hospital authority can, during that period, construct a tunnel leading from the Yangma Tei MTR station to the hospital. At the last meeting, officials told us that the idea was technically feasible, and so we'd like the Bureau to liaise with other departments to construct a tunnel between Yangma Tei MTR station and Kwonghwa Hospital for use during the redevelopment period. You know, if you just exit the MTR station, you have to walk for quite some time before you can reach Waterloo Road. And we want the patients and their family members to be able to reach the hospital from the Yangma Tei MTR station easily. And then may I also refer to para 10 of the supplementary paper with regard to toilet facilities. Now we have two concerns. First of all, we hope that after redevelopment, there will no longer be long queues outside the cubicles in the female toilet. I understand that the relevant legislation may be amended, and we want to make sure that the ratio between the number of urinals and the number of cubicles in female toilets should be 1 to 2. It's not enough to comply with the requirements of the present ordinance because it's outdated. It was enacted over 50 years ago. And then second, at the moment, there is no legislation governing the design of toilets and hospitals and a number of cubicles to be provided in toilets and hospitals. So we want you to meet the ratio of 1 to 2, as I've mentioned just now. And also, there are many hospitalized patients who have to be accompanied when they go to toilet. They can't go to toilet on their own. So we hope that you can also provide unisex toilets so that foreign domestic helpers as well as family members can make use of these toilets when they accompany the patients to toilet. At the moment, we only have a disabled toilet. So we hope that there can be carers toilets. You know, in the hospital you can see lots of females, foreign domestic helpers, as well as family members and carers. Yes, Under Secretary. Yes, I thank Ms. Wong for her questions. In fact, at the PWSC meeting, we heard members' views about the transport arrangements. So if we've got funding approval from the FC, then we will proceed with a more detailed design. And we will, of course, before that, seek other government departments' views on the feasibility of the proposal. So we will deal with this matter as a matter of urgency. And then cubicles and urinals in male toilets, cubicles in female toilets. The concern was also raised last time. And we will remind our architects that sufficient female toilet cubicles be provided. So we will urge the architects to pay attention to this in the design. But we can proceed with the detailed design only after we've got funding, so we can't give you the numbers at the moment. Do you wish to follow up? But what about unisex toilets or unisex cubicles? Chairman, yes, we understand that there is a need for such toilets. In fact, we'll be providing such toilets at Tin Shui Wai Hospital. And then for Kwong Wai Hospital, after we've got the funding, we will incorporate this element in the design. We do understand there is a need to provide such toilets. Chairman, we had a meeting with the ASD on the design of the Tin Shui Wai Hospital, and we discovered that no unisex toilets would be provided in the original design. And I hope that in future, when we discuss the design of hospitals, we no longer have to bring up the point about toilets. And I understand that after this redevelopment project, the day center or the day hospital will be expanded, but there won't be a significant increase in the number of beds. In fact, I've already said that the design must be flexible. What if the government has underestimated the demand for hospital beds? And I want to know whether the design of the day hospital will be flexible enough so that when there is a shortage of hospital beds, then the area can be converted into wards. And also, Yau Ma Tei is an aging district. There are a lot of elderly people living in the district. And so concerning the dementia clinic, dementia services, I understand that the waiting time is extremely long. Last time, I said that the hospital authority should review the manpower establishment of the memory clinic. I think it's important that there should be sufficient capacity to meet the demands of the district. Yes, Chairman, I want to say that these points were addressed at the PWSC meeting. Now, concerning the daycare center or the day hospital, last time we explained why we were not proposing to increase the number of beds substantially.
And this is to be in keeping with some of the grassroots medical care developments. Perhaps Dr. Watts can talk about the dementia care side. Well, actually, in the last meeting, we have already talked about the needs of the aged, and we will definitely be putting this into our assessment and also our planning. Mr. Chairman Yip, Mr. Chairman, I was late just now. I'm looking at paper 71 concerning the Shaling Cemetery. Are we still to raise questions on that, or have we passed that agenda item? No, we have already dealt with that one. And there were no representatives from the administration. I understand. I'm explaining to you. I understand. Anything else? Other members, you have other questions? If there are no further questions, then I will put this PWSE 2012-13-46. We'll put this to the vote. All those in favor of this proposal, would you please raise your hand? All those who object to the proposal, please raise your hand. The majority of the members are in favor of this proposal, and it is therefore passed. The next item for Public Works Subcommittee or Finance Committee is PWSC 2012-13-47, which is medical subventions, 73 mm Tin Shui Wai Hospital. You're invited to recommend to the committee the upgrading of this item to Category A at the estimated cost of 3,910.9 million in money of the day prices for the construction of Tin Shui Wai Hospital. And we have Professor Sophia Chan, Under Secretary for Food and Health, Ms. Angela Lee, Principal Assistant Secretary for Food and Health, Health 2, Mr. Donald Lee, Chief Manager, Capital Planning, Hospital Authority, Mr. Chu Yim Kwang, Senior Building Services and Engineer, Architectural Services Department, Dr. Nelson Watt of the Kwong Wah Hospital and TWGH Wong Tai Sin Hospital, and the Director of Architectural Services, Mr. Leung Kun Ki, and Architectural Services Department Project Director, Ms. Chan Hoi Ming, and Dr. Tony Ko of the Hospital Authority. Yes. Mr. Chairman, I have a question concerning the Pok Oi Hospital, and a lot of patients were disappointed, even though at the time of coming to financing, it was actually different from what it is now, because a lot of the specialty services were not provided at Pok Oi. Now, I will leave the Pok Oi case, but we're now talking about the Tin Shui Wai Hospital. There will be a lot of demand for specialty medical service, but the proposal herein gives me the impression, and I'm worried that this is a repeat of the Pok Oi Hospital situation. That is, a lot of demand from aged geriatrics and orthopedics and gynecology, etc. I will not enumerate all of them, but I think all these are lacking. Now, with this funding, can you give us an undertaking that is for all the demand of specialty service, whether it is inpatient or out, after the completion of the hospital, you will provide these services? They have been waiting for over 10 years. Well, thank you, Dr. Kwok. In fact, in the paper, we have already mentioned that there will be 300 beds, inpatient and day beds. And also, at the completion of the hospital, we will be opening different departments and services. And actually, at the last PWSC meeting, we have talked about deployment of human resources and staffing as well. And this hospital will be under construction from now till completion. And we believe that gradually the tension or the supply of staff for this Tin Shui Wai Hospital will be eased. And we believe that all the services and departments that can be provided by the hospital will be provided, and we will follow up very closely with the needs and demands of the region that the hospital services. If there are some urgent needs, we will definitely review our planning. Now, there was also discussion of possibility of extensions for this hospital. We are also looking at an adjacent site which is small in scale. We do not have a conclusion on that yet, but we are looking into it. Now, Mr. Chairman, this is very important. It is possible that at the completion of the hospital, you will not be here, Professor Chan. And in fact, the Pok Oi Hospital, again, was that it was to provide comprehensive medical service. But we all know what the Pok Oi situation is. Now, in the proposal, you have not put in everything. You just said that you will consider other services. And if so, what kind of timing are you thinking of? Now, there are some hospitals or some cases where excuses are come up, such as staff shortage. I mean, you have to provide commitment for training and staffing. And I am worried that this the Tuen Mun Hospital would be part of some of the staff would be deployed to this hospital as a short-term or stopgap measure, as in the Pok Oi situation. Well, I think concerning this aspect of staffing, we are already accumulating a database of staff, and we have plans as to human resources deployment. Perhaps Dr. Koh can provide more information on this area. Dr. Koh? Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me supplement. As the professor had pointed out just now, for the New Territories West area, including Pokoi, we will be increasing staff. At the beginning of the commencement of Tin Shui Wai Hospital, you would understand that we cannot have new staff for the entire hospital, and therefore we will have to have redeployment from the existing hospitals, and at the same time step up training and also to build up the team so that they can commence work as soon as possible after the completion of Tin Shui Wai Hospital. Ms. Emily Lau? Yes, Mr. Chairman, a few things. Concerning the compartments in the ladies' lavatory, I will not repeat here. In fact, this is not peculiar to the two hospitals. I think this is something that the government will have to consider in general. As my colleague Ms. Wong had pointed out to the government, that this has to be considered as a must and comprehensively by the government. For lavatories, I hope that the government will be as anxious as the people of Hong Kong are, especially when Professor Sophia Chan, you are also a woman yourself, and it has been criticized that the men who designed all these lavatories did not have the woman's needs in mind, but on the other hand, look at the queues, even at the men's lavatories. Now, concerning the wheelchair facilities, for light rail, I do not know whether you realize that, in fact, the wheelchair, it is not wheelchair friendly. And the light rail said that by 2015, there will be facilities to facilitate the wheelchair users to cross to the other side of the street and therefore be able to access the hospitals. Now, I would want the Undersecretary to look into this. And further, another point concerning bus depots. Can Hong Kong be a bit more user-friendly, and that is provide seating at the bus depots? Now, this is something that is never before in Hong Kong, quite unprecedented. But there are other areas or other countries which, of course, would provide that. And the government officer, when I raised this point, the relevant officer said that that can be done, but however, it can only be limited, and there can be some leaning space, quote unquote, for the waiters of the bus. I'm looking at the situation here. I would like the government to respond to that need, and that is seating in the at the bus depots. Professor Chan? Yes, concerning female lavatories and the compartments therein, we have already put this into our planning, and the working group will definitely follow up. And in the future, whether this will become a policy, I think our hospital authority colleagues have already heard that loud and clear. And in the new hospitals or in the refurbishments of existing hospitals, they will definitely pay attention to this. As for barrier-free access and bus depot seating, we have already heard this view as well. We will definitely pass it on to the relevant departments. Now, concerning the improvements on lavatories, this is definitely insufficient. And in fact, you have the power to provide what is on top and above of what is prescribed in the law. Well, definitely at the point of planning, we will be urging the design team to look into this. And you mentioned just now that we do not aim for the lowest denominator, but to provide something that is better and on top of that. Yes, exactly, Mr. Chairman. We would want the new facilities to really be able to satisfy the demand of the people. Mr. Albert Chan? Well, actually, I have this view, which I have voiced time and again, even at the PWSC and here at the committee. I do not know what the attitude is, but having heard the Undersecretary just now concerning the unlawful constructions, it is apparent that my voice was not heard. Now, the reason why we have this hospital in the Tin Shui Wai area was because we wanted a bigger site. And geographically or location-wise, this is definitely not ideal. But given the reason that we want to tarry no longer, the residents and the people in that area have nevertheless consented to this. So that was the agreement or the consensus at the time. So I think the government, given this, whether it's the Hospital Authority or the Policy Bureau, should early allow for extra site. There is an adjacent site which is a parking lot under the FEHD. Now, actually, it is easier and more flexible for the FEHD to find parking sites. You do not have to allot this very precious and valuable and important site for parking. And I have voiced this many times that this is where you should spot sites early to perhaps ask for help from the planning department and etc., so that the FEHD can move their parking lot to another site, and so that we can identify early a site, an area for extension. I mean, moving of the car park would not adversely affect any service, especially not definitely of the FEHD in any big ways.
And then I would like to say something about the design of the hospital, the design of the car park, the ingress and the egress, and also pedestrian facilities. This is the second time I am making this comment. I'm worried about the design, because you're going to have the exit of the car park, the exit for use by the ambulances, and then there are pedestrian crossing facilities. I think this is not a good design. I don't know why these architects and designers place the safety of pedestrians as of secondary importance. In fact, I've seen this in many housing estates, and that is at the exit of the car parks, we see cars and pedestrians competing for space. And so I want to say that concerning the exit of this car park and the existence of the pedestrian crossing facility there, I want to say that this is an utterly wrong design, and I do not want to see loss of life arising from this design. Now, Chairman, I understand that Mr. Chen has already raised this concern already. So I want to say that we've already reserved some space elsewhere for the pedestrian facilities. And then I think the second question can answer Mr. Chen's question. Chairman, of course, we will try to achieve a segregation of vehicles and pedestrians. But inevitably, at some locations, this may not be possible. So we'll try to provide traffic lights, traffic signages, zebra crossings, so that people can safely go to the hospital or leave the hospital. Now, concerning the transforming station or the substation, yes, I can understand that, but I'm concerned about the car park and also the site Right, I mean the vehicle depot right next to Tin Y Estate. I'm not talking about the other two small lots. Perhaps you can let him answer. And also, I think the location of the exit of the car park will cause a lot of risks, right? Undersecretary? Yes, Chairman. I understand that there is a vehicle depot and it's now in use, and we will look at this depot to see how the site should be used. Mr. Michael Tian. Now concerning our public sector healthcare system, I feel that there is an unfair and uneven distribution of professional healthcare personnel. In fact, at Tin Mun Hospital, the waiting time for specialist service can be many times longer than the waiting time in other clusters. Now, Tin Shui Wai Hospital won't be completed till a few years later. And I'm worried that at the time the new hospital is completed, then you'll be taking away people from Pok Oi Hospital and Tin Mun Hospital. And you're telling us that you need to have experienced people leading the inexperienced people. So I think you should start building up the staff establishment at Tin Mun Hospital so that when Tin Shui Wai Hospital is commissioned and some of the manpower resources in Tin Mun Hospital have to be transferred to Tin Shui Wai Hospital, then the establishment at Tin Mun Hospital will not be worse than the present level. I understand that you need some people at Tin Mun Hospital to work at Tin Shui Wai Hospital. But do you know that the manpower resources at Tin Mun Hospital are already very stretched? So will you build up the reserves at Tin Mun Hospital? And second, for clusters like Kowloon Central, the queuing time is much shorter. Can you redeploy some of the manpower resources to the NT West cluster? Now, I understand that very few people are interested in working in NT West because it is more remote, inaccessible, but you have to offer some incentives for people to go to work in NT West. Now, is it that the average income of people living in NT West is low, and as a result, you think there's no need for you to take good care of them? And I am of the view that the hospital authorities, specialist manpower resources can be evenly distributed among the various clusters in the territory so that there will not be great discrepancies in the waiting time among the various clusters. Yes, Undersecretary. So Mr. Tian wants to know whether we'll start building up the manpower establishment at Tin Mun Hospital so that when the new hospital is commissioned, the manpower situation at Tin Mun Hospital will not be adversely affected, despite the fact that some of the people will have to move to Tin Shui Wai Hospital. Now, I think Dr. Koh can tell members that in fact we are starting to build up the manpower resources, and we also hope that for Pok Oi Hospital, the services there can be gradually built up to meet the demands of NT West residents. In fact, I have recently been to the NT West cluster, and concerning the manpower situation there and whether we can attract more healthcare personnel to work in the NT West cluster. Now, I want to say that we have reflected our concerns to the hospital authority. The hospital authority is now trying to think of ways to make NT West a more attractive cluster to as healthcare personnel. Dr. Cole may wish to supplement. Now, I am really very pleased. According to your response, the manpower at Tuen Mun Hospital, when the Tin Shui Wai Hospital is commissioned, will be no less than the manpower level now. But it seems that now you are saying that because there are vacant beds in Pok Hoi Hospital, and you will be building up the services at Pok Hoi Hospital. So I really am grateful to you. In fact, we do have plans to gradually commission the beds at Pok Hoi Hospital. At the moment, the major obstacle is lack of manpower. I think Dr. Koh can supplement. He is the HCE of Pok Hoi Hospital. Chairman, thank you. Yes, I want to make some additional comments for the NT-West cluster as well as Pok Hoi Hospital. We are planning to enhance our services. In the coming years, we will build up our manpower establishment. We will increase the size of the team. When a new hospital is commissioned, we need to have experienced colleagues as well as new colleagues working together to provide an efficient service. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. So when you construct and commission a new hospital, do you make sure that there will be sufficient manpower establishment? Now, what if you don't have enough water and yet you have an extra pot? So you won't be able to have enough water for that pot. And will you also consider recruiting retirees or getting outside help? Doctors in Hong Kong are very eager to protect their own interests. Now, so we can approve funding for you to provide the hardware, but you need the software as well. Some time ago, some people suggested that the nursing school could be closed. And if the government makes a mistake, the public suffer. So I just hope that when a new hospital is commissioned, then the manpower situation at existing hospitals will not be diminished. All right, I think you should have objectives and targets in mind. The mainland likes to talk about targets and achieving targets. So what is your target? Michael Tien is correct. The hospitals on Hong Kong Island are more advanced. And I live in Kowloon. Why is it that the hospitals on Hong Kong Island are superior? That's because there are more well-off people living on Hong Kong Island. There are more high-ranking officials living on Hong Kong Island. So, can I ask you what standards you adopt with regard to the manpower establishment at hospitals? Yes, Chairman. As mentioned by Dr. Koh, we will make sure that there will be sufficient manpower resources for the new hospital. And at the moment, the hospital authority is adopting a multi-pronged approach to increase the supply of manpower, including recruiting retirees and also part-time doctors to assist. Yes, let me cut a long story short. Now, this is in Hong Kong. We also speak English, many doctors were trained in the UK. So if you can't train enough doctors locally, then why not bring in doctors from English-speaking countries? CY Leung said, yes, I want to provide more housing. I will provide more housing, but then I can't find the sites. Yes, perhaps you can let him reply, and they haven't replied, and you're now talking about getting outside aid. All right, Dr. Cole, do you have an establishment ratio in mind? For example, how many people are required to man the hospital? Yes, Chairman. It's true that in recent years our manpower resources have been rather stretched, and so the medical school of the universities have stepped up training, and we believe that in the coming years there will be an increase in the supply of healthcare personnel. And then back to the manpower needs of the new hospital. Now for the Tin Shui Wai Hospital, our preliminary estimate is that we'll need 70 doctors. And what will happen if you can't get 70 doctors to serve in the new hospital?
At our point of, from our point of view and from our estimates, if we do not have enough, well, hold on. What if there is only 60 at the end of the day, or even 50? What then? No, our estimate is that it will not be insufficient. Yes, your time is up. Well, she will basically not answer you. This is a hypothetical question. Chair Hongpan. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For Tin Shui Wai Hospital, the Tin Shui Wai residents are actually very happy and expectant of this. But I would like to know the division of labor among the three hospitals. Pok Oi of Yuen Long, and the Yuen Long residents sometimes have to be referred to the Tuen Mun Hospital because there are insufficient facilities and services at the Pok Oi. And would the Yuen Long Hospital be vacuumed out in a sense? That is, the services, etc., will not be built up in the future by the HA, especially with the completion of the newly completed or commissioned Tin Shui Wai Hospital. And my question is really, how much longer or shorter would the residents of New Territories West residents have to wait? Well, for the three hospitals, I will perhaps ask the hospital authority to answer that question. We have definitely no plan to vacuum out any hospital service. Well, concerning Tin Shui Wai Hospital, what specialist departments and services will there be? We will give a clear and complete list closer to the time of the end of our planning period. As for the cluster with a few hospitals, the Tuen Mun Hospital basically will have most of the facilities at present, and the more complicated surgeries, etc., will be carried out there. But for emergency wards, the three hospitals will each have their own emergency wards. Pok Oi, for example, it is extending its services, and we have reason to believe that it will be able to very well serve the residents in the area, even though at present some of the services are not still available. As for the division of labor among the three hospitals, apart from emergency wards in Tin Shui Wai, there are other departments which can also be opened there. For example, long-term illnesses, services. But as I have mentioned just now, for the detailed information, we will be looking at demand for services in the area. There will be consultation of residents in the area before we come up with a comprehensive plan. Chen Hongban. Mr. Chairman, in fact, the division of labor among the three hospitals is very important. It has to be very clear. I've had acquaintances who've been to the Pokoi Hospital, and in fact it was in the same cluster as the Tai Po Hospital. And my acquaintance had a heart problem, and after going to Pokoi, he was referred to the Northern Territory Hospital, and after that he was referred to the Tuen Mun Hospital. So with this kind of referral from Pokoi to Northern District Hospital and onward, do you believe that this will continue? That is, the smaller hospitals will have to refer to the bigger hospitals and then onward to the even bigger hospital. What exactly is the division of labor of the hospitals? I think the government will have to very clearly demarcate the services and of each hospital, and also the residents and patients will have to be very clear as to the services of each. Any follow-up question? Well, Leung Kwok Hong, you said I had a hypothetical question. Well, I want a hypothetical answer to my question of what if there is less than 70 doctors. Well, if there's insufficient service and if I should die as a patient, so be it. But my question is, if it should fall short of the 70 hospital doctors, what then? Well, we'll ask Professor Sophia Chan to answer that question. Yes, Undersecretary? Well, for a hypothetical answer, if we are indeed understaffed, we will be looking at the services that we can provide. Well, first of all, we will exhaust all means to find sufficient staff. That is first and foremost. And secondly, if there are services with shortfall of staffing, then we may have to identify the low priority services to see whether we can delay the opening up of those services. But this is hypothetical. We are quite confident that we will provide all the services. Well, Mr. Chairman, what you're saying is that the actual situation is that if there is an understaffed situation, very unfortunately, you cannot open up the services. Well, Professor, I think you are an honest person. I respect you. But on the other hand, I cannot accept this answer. You are unlike the government officers, but still, I cannot accept this answer from anyone. And for the clusters, I think this is certainly not satisfactory. From my area, the Chang Kwan O area is to be clustered up or put into the same network as United Christian Hospital. But on the other hand, this is not satisfactory. I mean, even for the voting, they were in different zones, different districts. Now, there are three hospitals we're looking at. One is perhaps the best out of the three, and the others, one would have to say, because they are situated in NT West, it is very difficult for them to position themselves. And it is very difficult also for the residents in the NT West area. And what about Hong Kong Island residents? Perhaps they can go to the Tin Shui Wai Hospital. It is the latest. It is the newest. Why not ask the people living on the island, Hong Kong Island, to do so? All the latest technology, medical equipment would all be located in Tin Shui Wai Hospital. Why not just put them all there? And the people on the Hong Kong Island will have to say, well, unfortunately, they are living on the Hong Kong Island and they cannot access the equipment and latest technology in Tin Shui Wai. Why don't we do that and favor Tin Shui Wai Hospital for a change? Well, thank you for the question. For our clustering arrangement, there are actually a lot of different opinions expressed. Well, this is my latest opinion, and that is the Queen Mary Hospital basically services the people living on the island. But why not provide the best and latest technology to Tin Shui Wai Hospital? MRI, what have you, and even the mainlanders can easily come to that hospital, isn't it? Now, this is my question. Your time is almost up. Do you want an answer from the government? And you're repeating yourself. I don't even know whether the Undersecretary should answer your question. And when she starts answering your question, you are speaking as well. Well, maybe I should very succinctly provide an answer. There will be a review by the Housing Authority very soon, and your opinion as well as those of others will be dealt with at the review. I do hope so. I do hope so. I do hope so. Any other questions from members? If there are no other questions, PWSC FCR 2012-1371. I will put this to the vote, and that is paper 47, PWSC 2012-1347. All those in favor? All those objecting to the proposal? The majority of members in favor of the proposal. The proposal is adopted. FCR 2012-1369, item 3. This item invites members to approve the creation of a new non-recurring subhead with a commitment for making a contribution to the 10th replenishment of the Asian Development Fund to the tune of 260.18 million Hong Kong dollars. And on the 7th of January 2013, the Finance Committee had discussed this particular proposal, and in attendance here from the government are Deputy Secretary for Financial Services and Treasury Financial Services, Ms. Selina Yan, Mr. Eddie Yu, Deputy CE of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Ms. Chang Ying-Ying, Senior Manager External of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. And I would now like to ask Ms. Dory Lee to report on the conclusions of the discussions at the finance panel. At the meeting of the panel on the 7th of January 2013, we have discussed the creation of a new non-current subhead item or commitment for contribution to the 10th replenishment of the Asian Development Fund, and we have also asked a question concerning the burden sharing formula for Hong Kong and also the comparison between the donations between Hong Kong and other donors, and also the operation of the Asian Development Fund itself. And the questions were answered duly by the government, and we are in favor of this proposal. Any questions from members? If there are no questions, I will put this proposal to the vote. All those in favor of FCR 2012-1369 proposal, please raise your hand. All those objecting to the proposal, please raise your hand. The majority of members are in favor of the proposal. The proposal is passed. We go on to agenda item number 4, FCR 2012-1367. concerning the Capital Works Reserve Fund Head 710 computerization. Members are invited to approve a new commitment of 912,215,000 for the implementation of a new immigration control system for the Immigration Department. And on the 4th of December 2012, the panel had discussed this proposal, and we have here today in attendance Mr. John Lee, Under Secretary for Security, Mr. Billy Wu, Principal Assistant Secretary for Security D, Mr. Corrado Chow, Assistant Director of Immigration Information Systems Immigration Department, Mr. Eric Zhang, Assistant Director of Immigration Department Controls, Ms. Caroline Fan, Chief Systems Manager, Immigration Department. Yes, Mr. Yip, Chairman of the panel. Exactly on the 4th of December 2012, we have the panel meeting discussed this proposal concerning the new immigration control system of the Immigration Department. We have raised several queries, one on the efficiency of the operation of the control point. Secondly, the workload of the frontline personnel at the borders, and further, the ever-increasing number of travelers and whether the system is sufficient to meet that demand, and also the projected demand in the future. And the answers was that this system would actually alleviate the workload of the officers, and the service would be able to satisfy demand until 2020 at least, and also that the security of the system is in keeping with international security and protection standards. And at the panel's suggestion, the government had further compared the systems of the other countries and also the accumulated leave of the Immigration Department staff.
Ms. Emily Lau, 5 minutes. Now, when the proposal was drawn up, there wasn't a problem with infant formula products. Now, I understand that the staff in the Immigration Department all have a very heavy workload. But now we know that the legislation will be amended. So can the new system really cope with the situation? Under Secretary. Chairman, the new system will be faster and more efficient than the existing system. But then concerning monitoring of the parallel traders and also the monitoring of the watch list, whether we have this new system or not doesn't really make too much difference. But then this new system is extremely fast, and so when we need to search for certain information, then of course that would take less time. But then in monitoring the watch list and in judging whether a certain person should be allowed entry to Hong Kong, now that a judgment is exercised by our staff. So I want to say that the system is quick and efficient, and so that will help to save time. But then it's for immigration officers to ask visitors questions and then decide whether they should be allowed into Hong Kong. Because when this system was designed, the problem of parallel traders was not with us, and we don't know how things are going to develop. So is it that the system will not be able to help too much. Now, is it that in future the queues are going to be very, very long? Now, we are not allowed to go to the mainland, but then if the queues are long, then there will be more conflicts and disputes. Now, in fact, I have said many times that we must not allow visitors to insult our immigration officers. Do you know that in other countries, the immigration officers are extremely powerful and authoritative? So I want to hear from the immigration department whether you think there will be longer queues at the border crossing points. I'll invite Mr. Zhang to give a reply. Mr. Zhang. Thank you. And I thank Ms. Lau for being so concerned about our work. Now, in fact, at the border crossing points, parallel traders do affect our work because they enter and exit a number of times, and that will affect the queuing situation. And so our frontline staff do feel extra pressure. The immigration department exercises immigration control. We also step up our enforcement action. We hope that nuisances caused to SAR residents can be minimized, and we hope to rationalize the queuing situation at the border crossing points. In fact, in the past week, we refused the entry of 700 suspected parallel traders. And we have seen an improvement in the queuing situation at the border crossing points. The immigration department will continue to step up immigration control. And we hope that there will not be long queues at the border crossing points. I just hope that the system can be so designed so that some help can be given to our frontline staff. But then today we are told that the system won't be able to help. The judgment has to be exercised by the officers on the spot. So it seems that the system, the development of the system won't be able to help us deal with this very thorny issue. Now, this is an open system, Chairman. What I mean is that if necessary, certain functions can be added on to the system. So in future, if we want to analyze the information about visitors, then it is quite possible that we can add this function to the system later. For example, the system allows a program to say analyze the information of certain visitors. Thank you. Mr. Chen Chi-chun, thank you. So the Immigration Department is asking for $900 million for the new system. And para 5 says Hong Kong is one of the most popular international trade and tourism hubs with very heavy passenger traffic and visitor throughputs at control points. And I think this application mainly benefits mainland visitors. From 2007 to 2011, the number of mainland visitors increased from 15 million to about 28 million. And in 2012, out of the total number of visitors, 48 million, over 34 million were mainland visitors. Now, I'm sure the system will benefit mainland visitors. most, and it is said that there is increasing pressure on the handling capacity of the existing control point systems. So while we know that there will be an increase in the number of mainland visitors, have we considered how much Hong Kong can cope? Because Mr. James Tan has said that the idea of one permit, one trip could be considered. So if we have the new system to increase the capacity of the immigration department, then we are indirectly encouraging more mainland visitors to come to Hong Kong. Now, Chairman, in fact, most of the users of the system are Hong Kong residents. Hong Kong residents plus other visitors, 60%, and then mainland visitors, 40%. So most of the beneficiaries are going to be Hong Kong residents. And so I want to say that with 60% of those using this system are Hong Kong residents. And then concerning whether Hong Kong will be able to cope, I understand that the government is doing some studies and some research. And I believe the results will be made available in the near future. Do you know how many mainland visitors enter and exit Hong Kong more than 2 times every day? Now, in fact, 20% of mainland visitors make use of the e-channels. As to how many enter and exit Hong Kong 2 times or more a day, I don't have the figures. Does the immigration department have the figures here?
I think
Mr. Zhang can give a reply. Yes, Chairman, according to our analysis of the figures in December, there are about 4,000 mainland visitors entering into Hong Kong 2 times a day. Mr. Chen Chi-chun, now some are worried that when the system is fast, then when there are e-channels, then that would encourage more parallel traders. Is that the case? Under Secretary. Now, this application is about a system. Combating parallel traders is an operational issue. So if we are to tackle the problem of parallel traders, we have to rely on our operations. In fact, we have many people entering and exiting Hong Kong every day, and parallel traders only constitutes a small percentage. Just now I mentioned the ratio 6:4. And concerning mainland visitors and non-mainland visitors, using our border crossing points, three to 1. So I just want to emphasize that this system will benefit Hong Kong residents as well as the Tourism Ministry of Hong Kong as a whole. Mr. Charles Peter Mock, I understand that you have to make use of biometric technology, and you have to store a lot more sensitive information like the face and the fingerprint. and so on and so forth. So I'm concerned about the security features and also measures to safeguard privacy. Previously, we saw cases of the immigration department losing some of its computers. And I just want to know whether there will be adequate security features. Who can give a reply? I will try to reply, and then my colleagues may wish to supplement. I want to say that the system is designed to international standards, and we also have security features. For example, the central storage system has to be encrypted, and the requirements of our security legislation has to be met. And then there will also be very sophisticated computer systems. We, for example, cloud computing and virtualization technology. And if people are to enter the system, there are a lot of procedures to go through, and if people need to go to the central storage system, the password is required, and the pupil identification requirement also has to be met. So I want to say that we will be able to meet very stringent and vigorous international standards.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, these are all correct that the Secretary had mentioned. But what I'm worried about is the issues at the terminal. And actually that was the problem the last time with the Immigration Department, the loss of mobile phones where there is data stored, etc. I do not know exactly how the system will be working, but I would like to point out that this is an area that we have to pay special attention to, and also for training, that there should be more emphasis on training, because every time there are problems, they are usually human errors. So training would be important. Mr. Chairman, anything to respond? Yes, Mr. Mark's question is exactly where we are concerned about, and there are individual colleagues when dealing with certain information or data, they have room for improvement when doing so. And the Deputy Director of Immigration Department had actually set up a work committee to exactly look at guidelines, operations, manuals, and also training, so that there will be new improvements. Any follow-up? None. All right. Any other questions from members? Mr. Chan Chi-chun? Yes. I have a question concerning stability of operations. And there had been news in the media of wrongful identification of fingerprints. Now, it was attributed to malfunctioning of the equipment. I would like to know what if that happens again. Well, the Immigration Department is very concerned about this. If there's anything that we can do to combat counterfeiting, this is something that we are most concerned about. There is a self-assessment mechanism, and every 6 months the supplier will have to assess and test the system on the whole. And in detecting counterfeiting, there are some new functions introduced. For example, infrared technology is used to test the temperature, for example, and also facial expressions detection. So that would be heat, facial expression to prevent anyone wearing masks, face masks. And also there are detection or sensors to detect two people going through the door at the same time when it should have been one. And learning from past experience and in our tests, we now find that a lot of anti-counterfeiting facilities and technology is a lot stronger than before. And in our tendering, we have put in the term that there will be smooth running of the system, 100% smooth running. If there should be any malfunctioning, there will be immediate replacement. To find out why it malfunctioned is a second priority. The first priority is that the system must run exactly as it should. Any other questions from members? If not, I put this proposal to the vote. All those in favor of FCR 2012-13-67, all those in favor of the proposal, please raise your hand. All those not in favor, please raise your hand. The majority of members are in favor of the proposal. The proposal is passed. Item number 5, Lotteries Fund, Head 341, Non-Recurrent Grants. Members are invited to approve the following allocations from the Lotteries Fund. 1. $23,199,000 for fitting out works and $4,302,000 for acquisition of furniture and equipment for a new integrated rehabilitation services center in Shek Kip Mei Estate, Sham Shui Po. And B, $30,993,000 for fitting out works and $3,187,000 for acquisition of furniture and equipment for a new day activity center cum hostel for severely mentally handicapped persons in Tin Ching Estate, Tin Shui Wai, Yuen Long. The Director of Social Welfare, with the support of the Secretary for Labour and Welfare, had come to the panel for the funding. And we have today here at the meeting representatives of the government, Mr. Stephen Soi Wai Kung, Commissioner for Rehabilitation, Labour and Welfare Bureau, Mrs. Anna Mack, Deputy Director of Social Welfare Department, Mr. Lam Ka Tai, Assistant Director of Social Welfare, and Mr. Simon Kong Ha Wing, Senior Architect, Social Welfare Department. I ask the Chairman of the panel, Welfare Panel, Ms. Chan Yun Han. The panel is in favor, the Welfare Affairs panel is in favor of the funding, and the proposal was discussed on the 10th of December 2012 meeting. We further suggested that the government should come up with concrete plans to enhance the facilities and hostels for the disabled and to shorten the queue, and also to provide government offices and government premises for facilities, including hostels and live-in facilities for the mentally handicapped. And also this become one of the land sale conditions. I have a question whether this kind of funding proposal would come in the future, whether there will be more of these. No, thank you very much for Mr. Yu's question. For the refurbishment and refitting out of the centers, we will do that periodically. We will be using our existing policy, and that is allocate from the Lotteries Fund to carry out these fitting out works. Is there a time limit as to the depreciation? Will it be done every 5 years, or Would it be longer, or is there a specific time? Yes, every 5 years we will have a review for necessity of fitting out works, but this is not unchangeable in the sense that if there are special circumstances arising, we will review and carry out the necessary works, even if it's shorter than 5 years. Mr. Chang Kwok-chi. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, with new centers and new day activity centers and hostels for the disabled, that is, of course, something that is to be welcome. But I'm looking at Tin Ching Estate and also the Shakip Mei Estate. I do not remember very well, but I believe that they have been completed for a long time. The Integrated Rehabilitation Services Center and the Day Activity Center cum hostel, these two. Now, definitely they are over 5 years old. And if that is the case, then you may be delaying the fitting out and refurbishment work. That's the first question. The second question, tendering will not start until April of this year, so you're waiting for the granting of the funds before you actually start tendering. I mean, isn't that too long a tarry? I mean, can you not go forward with the tendering even before we have granted the funds? And if you do not open up the tendering exercise until April, would you be able to complete the works in time, within 6 months, say? So when will you be able to provide service? I'm disappointed that the administration work is really delaying the provision of service, and people are waiting for that service. Some are waiting for 40-something months, 80-something months, and for the heavily disabled, they might have gone on before they could be they could access the service. Well, thank you very much for the question. Mr. Chairman, concerning the Integrated Rehabilitation Services Center in Shakip Mei Estate, in fact, it was completed in 2012, and we have started out the fitting out works immediately. And it was April 2011 that the Tin Ching Estate Center was completed. Why did it take so long for the Tin Ching Estate Center? It's because the original purpose for the Tin Ching Estate facilities was not its present one, but we considered that it is more important to meet the needs of the disabled. Therefore, we have amended the purpose for the Tin Ching Estate Center, and it is for this reason that we have in a sense, delayed the works. Even though we're coming for funding only today to the Finance Committee, but we have done a lot of work beforehand. For example, we have applied to the Lotteries Fund for funding, and also in terms of the tendering work, our colleagues have done the prerequisite work so as to speed up and expedite the entire process. Chang Kwok-chi, you have a follow-up question? Yes, Mr. Chairman, I can accept the answer from the Secretary. But the Chen Ching Feng elderly home, I'm still very much disheartened by that. I know this is not the subject of discussion now, but I remember that incident. I understand the situation concerning these two centers, but I would like to hark back on the that proposal, that example, and hopefully the government understands that time is of the essence. Any other questions? None. I will now put this to the vote. FCR 2012-1368. All those in favor of the proposal? Thank you. All those objecting to the proposal? The majority of members are in favor of this proposal. The proposal is passed. We go on to FCR 2012-1372. Capital Works Reserve Fund Head 710, Computerization. Members are invited to approve a new commitment of $52,542,000 for the relocation, reprovisioning of the information technology systems and facilities of the Trade and Industry Department to the Trade and Industry Tower. On the 20th of November 2012, the Trade and Industry panel had conducted the meeting and had discussed this proposal, and today we have the following officers at the meeting: Mr. Raymond Wu, Principal Assistant Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development; Mr. Brian Low, Deputy Director General of Trade and Industry; Mrs. Louisa Cheung, Departmental Secretary, Trade and Industry Department; Ms. Wong Lam Ching, Senior Systems Manager, Trade and Industry Department. I would now like to ask Mr. Fong Kong, the chairman of the panel, to report on the findings of the panel. On the 20th of November 2012 meeting, the panel had discussed this funding proposal. Basically, this is for the removal and relocation and reprovisioning of the information technology systems and facilities to the new Trade and Industry Tower in Kai Tak, new development area. We are in favor, in principle, of this proposal. We urge the government to, during the time of relocation, to ensure the integrity and protection of the data, and also that all testing and removal process would not affect or reduce the service of the Trade and Industry Department to the businesses and to the public.
Any questions, please, members? Mr. Charles Peter Mock. In fact, I did raise this point at the panel meeting. Very often, we see that the administration promotes a central data center, and then departments want funding for their respective facilities. Now, of course, there may be good reasons for them to make such requests, but then we understand that the government wants to adopt cloud technology, but then some departments do not want to make use of the central system, and they want their own systems, and as a result, we need to spend more money. So can I ask the TID why you need your own system? Now, I understand that your office will be relocated, but then the system shouldn't be affected by relocation. And you're moving to a new building, and there is bound to be some gap time in between. So I want to ask why there is a need for the system. Yes, Deputy Director General. Chairman, thank you. In fact, Mr. Mock raised a similar question at the panel meeting. The TID processes a lot of data, including sensitive data, like data relating to businesses and enterprises in Hong Kong. We have consulted the relevant departments. We know that this project won't be completed till 2 to 3 years later. And so when we carry out this project, we will monitor the development of or the latest development of technology, and we will also be consulting the audio. In fact, even if central facilities are used, there's a separate cloud for the TID. And there will no longer be a need to be concerned about relocating and reprovisioning the systems. Thank you. Any follow-up comments, Mr. Low? Chairman, will we thank Mr. Mock for his comments? And we will be liaising very closely with the audio on the development of the cloud technology. Ms. Leung Kwa Hong, now as the offices have to be relocated, the IT systems and facilities have to be relocated as well. And there is one item here called savings. And I understand that about $5 million can be saved. So you should be able to have savings on the existing expenditure or covering the existing expenditure over a 9-year period. But can the system be used for 9 years? In other words, if the system can last for 9 years, then you'll be able to recover all the costs of relocating. All right. So according to your estimate, what is the lifespan of this system? Yes, Chairman. In fact, we have 32 computer systems within the TID. They belong to 3 categories. First of all, electronic certificates. Second, intranet for operational use by the department. Then third, electronic websites to achieve interactive exchange of information with the business sector. I believe members will understand that these systems have a limited lifespan. Usually we're talking about 6 years. If I remember correctly, 17 systems are approaching the end of their usable or serviceable life. So we'll not ask for extra funding to work on those systems. We'll seize this opportunity to update those systems as well. And concerning savings, we should be able to achieve savings on maintenance, and also with the relocation, we will be adopting some new technologies and infrastructure, and that will help us achieve savings with regard to cost effectiveness. Any follow-up questions, Mr. Leung Kwa Hong? No, not really, but it's just that I don't understand. Now, if you, because of the relocation, can save so much money over a 9-year period, and of course, I welcome that. But then, now we know that some of the systems will die very soon. And you have to do something about them, whether you relocate or not. All right. Now concerning the relocation and the using of new systems. Do you carry out a tendering exercise? Yes, Chairman. 2 questions. First of all, Mr. Leung is concerned that we are not really able to achieve savings on the cost. But even if we do not relocate, we'll have to incur non-recurrent expenditure on updating the systems. But as there is the relocation exercise, we're taking this opportunity to do it in the exercise. And then second, yes, there will be an open tendering exercise. So how we're going to procure and install these facilities, all these will go through open bidding. Is it that you invite people to bid for the project, or is it that you will give priority to certain people? He has already given you a reply. No, I understand that there is a scoring system. Is there a scoring system? Is it that those who have been working on the projects will get some priority? Now, when we carry out open tendering, we have to follow the guidelines issued by the Financial Services and Treasury Bureau. Right? Do members have any further questions? No? Then I'll put this item to the vote. Members who support the proposal in paper FCR 72, please raise their hands. Those against, please raise their hands. I think the majority of the members voting are in favor of the proposal. The proposal is approved. Item 7 on the agenda, FCR 73, Capital Works Reserve Fund, Head 710 Computerization. Members are invited to approve a new commitment of 51.796 million for the provision of an information technology infrastructure and the digital audio recording and transcription services system in the West Kowloon Law Courts building. In fact, last year, the AJLS panel of this council was consulted on the proposal. And to answer members' questions, we have the following officials in attendance. Mr. Arthur Sek Hong, Deputy Judiciary Administrator, and Mr. Stanley To Sik Hong, Assistant Judiciary Administrator. So can I invite the chairman of the AJLS panel, Ms. Priscilla Leung, to report to us the deliberations. On the 24th of December, the AJLS panel discussed the IT infrastructure in the West Kowloon Law Courts building. The panel had no objection to the proposal, but then some members asked the administration to provide supplementary information to the FC on the use of transcription services in court hearings, and whether transcription services would be provided at all court hearings. The information by from the administration has already been issued to members. And then now concerning the present network and the servers, they are at the High Court building, and there is also a server center at the Labour Tribunal building. And with regard to the creation of another server center in the West Kowloon Law Courts building, some members asked the administration to, at this meeting of the FC, explain to members the long-term development of the judiciary's IT strategy. Mr. Dennis Kwok, I and Ms. Emily Lau and Mr. Mock met the JA this morning on how to upgrade the IT systems and the IT infrastructure within the judiciary. Now, of course, that's a major exercise. And will there be duplication with this project before us, costing $51 million? Yes, Chairman. I thank the member for his question. In fact, we've reached an advanced stage concerning the overall IT strategy. We'll report to the panel at the end of this month. Now, because there is this new building that will be commissioned at the end of 2015 or in early 2016, we must make sure that the necessary infrastructure is available. And concerning the long-term IT strategy for the judiciary, we will be coming up with a series of proposals. But then for the West Kowloon Law Courts building, we will provide the necessary infrastructure so that in future, when we need extra servers or computers or platforms, then we'll be able to accommodate those. All right, any follow-up questions? No? Mr. Wu Chi-wai, thank you. Now, of course, we support the provision of a new system for the new law court building. We are told that there will be improvement to the digital audio recording and transcription services system. But for members of the public who want to get transcripts of court proceedings, will they be able to get such records more efficiently, and will the fees be reduced? Yes, Chairman. Of course, these systems will be new, and but I want to say that transcription is mainly done manually, and so we still need people to do the transcription service.
So there will be improvements with the system. That is, the listening will be enhanced. As for the dictating, it is not just the equipment itself. Of course, the system is part of it, but really in terms of human resources and staffing, we have to take that into account as well. And we will have to reconsider the fees that we collect from there. Mr. Chairman, just a point of inquiry. We see in the market there's a lot of voice-to-text software. I do not know whether this kind of software is included in the system so as to help your colleagues in preparing these documents, which are so important, and also to speed up the turnover time in turning out these documents. Would it be faster with the system? Well, Mr. Wu, Mr. Chairman, as you mentioned, there are different software in the market. Perhaps my colleague here would be able to, Mr. Brian Ho will be able to supplement. And we are looking at mature technology, if any, that can help us in this work. At present, the system that we have in mind is the most ideal. But of course, we will continue to be vigilant to see whether we will need updating of the system. Now, as for whether this will contract the time, make the turnover time faster, well, in fact, for the court proceedings, perhaps at certain instances, the documents can be turned out on the same day of the court proceedings, some 4 days, some 7 days. And in the service that we provide for transcription, we will continue to provide that kind of service and with the help of the system. Yes. Concerning software, Mr. Chairman, there is such audio system or audio-to-text software. We have looked into them, but it doesn't really help us a lot, because in the Hong Kong law courts there are Chinese and English proceedings in both languages, and the software that we see in the market are still not mature for that purpose. Yes, any other questions, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong? Yes, Mr. Chairman. Voice recording and transcription is very important for a fair trial. These would be prerequisites. But I can say that transcriptions, preparations are very low quality. I speak from experience. But of course I would not blame on the officer who did the transcription. Perhaps the problem lies with me and how in my delivery, verbal delivery. Now, it is rather costly to produce a transcript. My question is, can you enhance, improve the accuracy of the transcripts? This is my first question. Secondly, the court proceedings. There is a problem, and that is sometimes even people at the back of the courtroom cannot hear the barrister speaking. There are two ramifications to this. One, that the parties to the trial, whether the person is a defendant or not, was not able to hear the entire proceedings effectively. And secondly, where there are public proceedings, there's the members of the audience, of the public, or the press, if they miss part of the proceedings because of inaudibility, then that undermines the fairness as well. Perhaps this is a bit beyond what we're talking about now. How can you make this closer to the situation of an open trial so that everybody in the courtroom would be able to hear the entire proceedings? Now, this is a very important part of your reform. Now, if you can do so, then I think this will give flesh and meaning and substance to the to fair trial in Hong Kong. A third question, also on transcript. Who will proofread the transcript? The judge? Or how is the proofreading done? A transcript, for instance, of my submission. Now, if the transcript, the copy is less than satisfactory, who will vet it? Mr. Chairman, Mr. Leung's questions, question 1 and 3 are actually related. They concern the accuracy of the transcript. We actually farm out the work. In fact, the transcript is prepared according to the audio tape of the proceedings, that is from voice to text. But it is not the responsibility of the transcriber to add anything or take away anything from the script. He or she will just listen to the tape and then transcribe it. And it is true, as you said, that the transcript itself may not be in very smooth language, but it is really it accurately reflects what was said in the court. So concerning accuracy, we actually have layers of people, and if to vet the accuracy of the transcript, and if necessary, we'll bring it to the judge to confirm the accuracy. As for the second question concerning audibility in the courts, we have we have concerns there, and in the West Kowloon, court, we will have a sound expert who will help us in making the acoustics much better. In fact, for some of the existing courts, we would want to gradually improve the acoustics therein as well. Mr. Chairman, I agree with you that the transcripts have to be accurate, because if they're not, this is highly problematic. I'm not saying that any language, rough as it is, be improved upon or refined by the transcriber. No. What I'm trying to say is that they are not accurate. You should pay perhaps even higher fees to make sure that they're accurate. We are very vigilant about the accuracy, Mr. Chairman. We will continue to do so. Right. Mr. Wu Chi-wai, Mr. Albert Chan have a second round of questions, and then we have another item to discuss. Let us make good use of our time so that we do not have undue delay for the remaining item. You're not allowing me to speak? No, that is not true. I cannot press the button here. You cannot press a button. Well, continue to do so, because you have to wait a long time before it comes back to you for questioning. Mr. Albert Chan, please. Yes, in principle, I'm in agreement to the proposal. Declaration of interest at I had asked the court for a DVD audio recording from the court of my own testimonials at the trial, and the judge decided that I can only get the transcript after the conclusion of the trial. I'm not doubting his decision, but you can actually on TV see that in some jurisdictions, as in the U.S., the trials were actually made completely open and public and actually broadcast. Now, for the audio recordings of court proceedings, if the parties to the trial would want to get a copy of the audio recordings, it should be treated as a basic right of the individuals. Perhaps this is an internal administrative decision of the court, and even where the laws say that the parties can get their own audio tapings back, but this decision is absolute from the judge, unless we have a review, judicial review, which is very costly. Otherwise, this will have to be. Now, my question is really, given that we will be spending so much money on this, should we not also at the same time ask the court to provide people with the records, and that is in the administrative proceedings, perhaps provide a kind of more modern approach to it, so that we are in keeping of the time, so that we are not in the pre-war era. Yes, Mr. Chairman, it is very true that this is very often the decision of the court, and this is a judicial decision, and we are not here to comment on it. But by and large, where possible, we endeavor to produce the DVD or tapes, audio tapes, as soon as possible for the usage of the parties to the trial. And we will continue to follow up with this. Mr. Chairman, costs is involved. Now, if I just want the tape, audio tape, it is not costly at all. But if I ask for a transcript, it may run into tens of thousands of dollars for the production of the same. But if I'm just requesting for my own DVD recording, it is rather ridiculous that the judge rules that I can only get the transcript. And this is ridiculous. I'm not trying to stop your speaking, your right to speak, but we are running out of time for this timing, and we are talking about this particular topic and not others. But Mr. Chairman, I have to. This is all related. I cannot give you the financing of the commitment, the funding, but at the same time, that it be used to hurt justice. Because if the court rules that I cannot get the tape recording of my own appearance in court, but rather get a transcript, then I think it is ridiculous. And I think that this is all related. Are you trying to affect the judicial process? No, Mr. Chairman, this is about provision of a vote for the information technology infrastructure for the West Kowloon Law Courts. I understand you. So you're saying that if you cannot get the audio recording, you're not going to agree to the funding. Is that right? Well, perhaps members do not understand the situation as I do, or actually we have people who are worse off here, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, as Mr. Koo See You. I just want to point out how ridiculous this issue is. Court recordings, of course, is recordings of the human voice, and this is very basic requirement in terms of technology. If you are saying that the acoustics will have to be enhanced so that the transcriber would not make mistakes. In fact, I would say that even with a pen recorder that available in the market today, you'll be able to do very clear recordings. But perhaps you're talking about the stability and the archiving of the materials. But this is about the transcribing process. What we are concerned about is the efficiency and the accuracy of the transcribing work. Can the citizens of Hong Kong get the transcript earlier and not have to wait so long? We are not trying to make it easier for the transcribers to make the recordings clearer or something like that.
So are you going to upgrade the service to the public as a result of this project? I want to say that these systems need to be enhanced and can be enhanced from time to time. I think my colleague can give members more details. Mr. To. Thank you. On the digital audio recording and transcription services system, now, the proposed system will be better than the present system. There will be more advanced hardware and software, and also we now have a 4-channel recording system. And in the future West Kowloon Law Courts building, we'll be using an 8-channel recording system. And that will help to enhance the quality of the transcription. Right, Mr. Chen Chi-chun, any follow-up comments? I think the PA system is more important, and in fact people at a court hearing may think that there is a mic, but in fact it's not a mic. It doesn't provide any sound amplification effect. Mr. Wu Chi-wai, I support the funding application, but I think the judiciary should be able to provide digital audio audio recording version to the two parties to the litigation as soon as possible. Right, I have the power to extend the meeting for 15 minutes, so I will hand over the venue to the next group at 6 p.m. And if members want to continue the discussion, then we may have to postpone certain items to the next meeting. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Now, the judiciary wants to have courts put under one roof. They say that this will enable more efficient management so that the courts can better serve the public. In an open trial, we are allowed to do recording ourselves, so we can write down the points. So why is it that audio recording is not allowed in courts? If we do audio recording in courts, that would amount to contempt of court. But if you do not allow people to do audio recording themselves, and your recording system is of poor standard, and as a result the transcription is of low quality, that would not do any good to either party to the case. So I want to say this again to you. I hope you understand. You have to ensure a few things. Now, for the independence of the judiciary and for fairness to be done, then we must make sure that there must be accurate records of proceedings. At the moment, the reporters are not allowed to make recordings. No, but so if we want the transcription, if we want the recording, we are at the mercy of the judge. Now, I have already told the judge the following. We don't know. The judge may be in a bad mood that day. He may have quarreled with his wife. So either you allow people to do their own audio recording, or you should make the recording available to the parties concerned. Now, I understand that your policy is to protect the dignity of the judges. So such legislative provisions are obsolete. Now, if you would only allow one authentic version, then you must make sure that the version is of high quality and it must be made available to all parties concerned. Now, say for example, if I want to appeal, I have to wait till I am granted the audio recording. Now, because I may be convicted. Now, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, will you allow them some time to reply? Now, you don't understand the situation. That's why you are impatient. It's not that I'm impatient, but we keep making comments, and I think what you are saying is irrelevant to the matter before us. It's relevant. I think you need to tell the judiciary that they need to change their policy, or I will not support the funding application. But of course, I know that this council will approve funding for this project. I am saying this for the record, and that is now concerning rights enjoyed that should be enjoyed by people in an open trial. We shouldn't be at the mercy of the judges. I am now voicing the grievances of those who can only beg for mercy from the judges, and I will not support the funding application. if you do not promise to change your policy. Mr. Ng, I have nothing really to add, but I just want to say that that's the present arrangement and that's the present system. And then concerning whether the public are allowed to make audio recordings in court proceedings, I understand that at the moment there are certain requirements and restrictions. The purpose is not to jeopardize the impartiality and fairness of court hearings. So to contemplate any change to the policy, we really need to be very cautious. Mr. Albert Chan. In fact, I have already mentioned my personal experience. I need to declare interest because I was the victim in that case. I asked for a DVD of the court proceedings. I followed the procedures. I filled in the form, but the judge said that I could not obtain a DVD. I could only get a transcript after the entire trial had been completed. And do you know that the fees are very, very different? And also, as for the trying judge to make a decision, then there may be, I think, a conflict in roles. Maybe in that hearing, the judge might sound unfriendly. All right. So, on one occasion in the court, the judge threw his pen onto the table. I was not legally represented. I had to defend myself. I didn't have enough time to jot down the points, and So I had to know what the other witnesses had said. Now I have to declare interest because I'm going to reply in 2 weeks' time. Now there were lots of witnesses. The administration's team was huge. I was on my own, and so if the judge doesn't give me the audio recording, then that's not fair to me. And also, I mentioned the conflict in roles. The judge can decide whether I can get the audio recording. But to a certain extent, there is a conflict of interest involved. So I think the system is not fair. He who is in power has all the say, and members of the public are not really adequately protected. So Chairman, is it that with this system, we'll be able to get the simultaneous transcript free of charge? Chairman, in fact, simultaneous transcription service is not available at all court hearings. What if this application is approved? Now, this application is not tantamount to providing simultaneous transcription at all court hearings. But then, what if that court provides simultaneous transcription service? Then can I get the transcript free of charge? No. So why is it that you are not telling us the fee? This paper is about the provision of the facility. And in future, courts which require the service can provide the service. Now, if we can get the transcript free of charge, then of course I will support this funding application. So I am asked to approve money for you to install the system, but I don't know what the fees will be. And I'm not going to approve that if the system will not work to the benefit of members of the public. In fact, we've already given the panel a paper detailing the simultaneous transcription service system. So will fees be charged in future if I want a transcript? It's for the two sides to the litigation to decide whether this is required, and then what I'm most worried about is that the judge will have all the say. You need to have the approval of the court, but then you said that if the two parties agree that there should be simultaneous transcription service, then the service could be provided, and then the cost would be shared or by one party. But we also need to have the approval of the judge to provide simultaneous transcription service. Yes, why? Not all cases require such service. But what if I am one party to the litigation and I think there is a need for simultaneous transcription service? Why is it that it's for the judge to decide? So say I'm willing to pay. Why is it that we still have to have the approval of the judge? Can you give the reply? Yes. This is because we need to arrange for a manpower to provide the simultaneous transcription service. So the parties have to put the request to the judge. If the judge gives the approval, then arrangements will be made for the transcription service to be provided. Do members wish to ask questions? No further questions. I'll put this item to the vote. Those in favor of the proposal in FCR 73, please put up their hands. But then if I allow a division, then we will exceed 6 p.m. We can do a head count. I want to put on record that I object to this proposal. All right, those in favor, please raise their hands. Those against? Can the clerk please record that Albert Chan, Chen Chi-chun, and Leung Kwok Hong opposes the proposal. Any abstentions? I think the majority of the members voting are in favor of the proposal. The proposal is approved. Can I ask the Financial Services and Treasury Bureau about this? We only have 20 seconds left. We can't deal with the remaining item. Do we need a special meeting to deal with that item? Esther? We've already asked the relevant department. We can deal with this item on the 15th of March. All right. So the meeting is adjourned, and I wish you all good health and good luck in the year of the snake. Thank you.